Come on, buddy.
All right. First thing we're going to do tonight is start from this position of the Rimiashi Garando. All right. And right now, the name, if you can't remember, it's not important. I'm just going to make sure you understand what it looks like. If I ever call for straight ashi, this is what I mean. You might hear people talk about single leg X, but this is not technically single leg X. Single leg X would be when I take this that's hooking the far butt cheek and put it on the leg. We don't really do that. We're always on the opposite cheek in here, okay? So this position, hold on, turn that computer down. It's gonna drive me nuts. I hear myself. So this position, I've got a hip. You'll see my heel is in his hip and like on the quad here. I've got my shoelaces in the opposite butt cheek. And notice my hips, I don't want them down here. I want my hips up and like up here in the knee line. Ideally, the higher the better, okay? And then also, you're gonna be tempted with this position to want to just squeeze. And that's not really where the control comes from. The control comes from hamstring curling this top leg, like pulling it, right? And then pushing with these shoelaces. So an extension and a pull and push. Okay. This is what gives you a lot of control. What I want you to do first is just practice getting into this position. So we're just going to start the most basic entry. That's in standing over me. I can plant, cup the leg, post however I want. I can use him as an anchor as the point to hoist myself up and into position. I'm going to shoot my hips high, and I'm going to like to get in on a Rimiashi. All right. Far butt cheek, hip, and then we're curling down and we're pushing. We're extending. I'm not trying to like take him anywhere right now. I just want you to have tension there. Okay. Any questions on that? All right, let's get 5 of those a piece and then let's add to it. We're gonna go like quicker pace. Okay. All right, 1, 2, 3. I'm just gonna give you the next piece. All right, so a good drill for this actually, Hudson was demonstrating. You can actually float between bows just to practice. Actually, can you get off this one? Like even by yourself at home before class, whatever. I think we've gone over this a few times. But first off, just practicing getting your hips up where I become a ball, bring my knees to my chest, and I shoot my legs straight. I bring my knees to my chest, and I shoot my legs straight. And I get my hips up off the ground and towards the ceiling. Okay? Now he comes over. It's the same motion, except now, instead of just kicking straight up, I'm going to have one, and this is important, is it's not, I'm not bringing both knees inside. One knee is staying inside, the other one's coming out and around, okay? So now it's the same motion, except instead of kicking up, I'm going to lean over on the side into the position. I can flip to the other side, flip to this side. And you can get a drilling partner who's willing to stay there with a good base, like Hudson's doing, and you can run this for a minute at a time, just to get fluid with that entry. Well, we can keep going though. All right. So next, what I want you to do, I want you to continue practicing this. All right. Become a ball. Right. I'm bringing my knees towards my chest, but not both on the inside. Right. Splitting the legs. But I'm still, if you look at me, I'm becoming a ball. Okay. Next thing I'm looking to do is as I come up, I want to make sure he doesn't get this foot back. So I don't want to be lazy with this arm. I don't want it up here. I don't want him to be able to start working his foot out, right? Because he's going to start to peel that top foot and escape. So I want to give myself the best chance to slow him down so that I can actually work from here. Okay, so I want to make sure that I'm actually in on this foot. Okay. Our first sweep from this position is going to be the same entry. And then right now, I've got a pull and a push, right? To take him down, though, for this particular sweep, I see he's got like a shoulder width stance. He's not super wide with the stance. All I have to do is instead of pulling and pushing, I'm going to reverse it for just a second and tilt myself right there. Okay? I'm not going to go into the attack from here, but where we are right now, if I ever call for straight ashi or a Rimiashi or just ashi,
This is what we mean. If I call for it, Nick calls for it, Chad calls for it, in a tournament or anything like that, just straight ashi. Okay. We can set up our ankle locks from here. We can set up heel hooks from here. We can set up other leg entanglements. But generally, if we call for straight ashi, we're never gonna be calling for single leg X. So if you've seen that on YouTube or other gyms, we don't ever do single leg X. We're always on the far cheek. Okay, and we'll go over this position more in depth in another class. So one more time.
Once you get your hips up, focus on really getting your hips as high as you can. I want my hips as close to his hips as possible. Okay, I don't want to just be like this. See how I'm barely off the ground? My hips are barely off the ground because there's a couple reasons. One, I can't apply for a sweep. I can't apply nearly the amount of pressure to his center of gravity from the right angle to get him down. Secondly, even if you don't know anything about leg locks, that's okay. But general rule of thumb for almost all leg locks is I need his knee line. My knees need to be beyond his knees. My knees need to be closer to his hips than his knee is as far away from his hips. So right now I don't really have his knee line. Now I have his knee line. Okay. So if I'm setting up a sweep into a leg lock, I want my knees above his knees in relation to his hips. All right. So what I want you to do now, I know that's a lot, just giving you guys random information like I always do that's at least relevant. I want you guys to get your hips up. I want you to feel this chop down and then this extension. All right. Get a strong base real quick. I don't want to take it down with that initial touch. Right here. He might just fall because you came down like thunder, okay? But generally, especially if he's got we're not really going to be able to hit this particular sweep if he gets a really wide stance. Okay, we got another one for that. But on this, where he has more of a shoulder width stance, instead of having this curling and this extension, this push-pull, I'm going to just swap him for a second and start leaning to my right. And then even before we're hitting the ground, I'm already back into where I was initially, where I'm curling with that top foot. I'm extending with that bottom foot. And it's not a ton of tension. Okay, you got to learn how to calibrate your tension or you're just going to get really tired, right? Because it's just a bunch of isometric, like straining the whole time. So you got to learn how to calibrate that. That's like just part of developing your jiu-jitsu and the feel for it. But we want enough tension to where he knows we're there. And we want to have commensurate, or I think that's the right word, commensurate tension to respond to whatever kind of tension he's given us, right? So if he's trying to fight out of it, I might elevate my tension in order to retain control. Okay. Any questions? All right. 1, 2, 3. Is it anybody feel like you're struggling? Got questions? Good. All right. So next part of this flow, same entry, but instead of going for the sweep, his job is always, when I get into this position, he's always going to be looking to peel that top foot off. Okay, before I'm able to take him anywhere, start working anything. Look at what this opens up though. Immediately, so to the inside, then we're at X guard. Okay, so one more time. He goes to strip that foot. You notice I post on the knee just for a second, right? So this was on the butt cheek. Let's see if I can do it slow. I'm on the cheek and the hip. He goes to strip. I post on the knee. This naturally slides down because I'm falling. He pushed my foot off, gravity. But I can pommel this inside and get to the hip, and now I'm in X. All right. From here, we're going to work a wrestle up tonight. But before I do that, I want to talk about a few more details of X guard. All right, and philosophize a little bit more on X guard. So first off, the reason I like X guard, and the reason a lot of people like X guard, is because it slows the game down. Right, typical styles of passing. Like if I'm just playing an open guard and Hudson's passing, right? Go ahead, just pass my guard. Right. You see how much I'm having to work? See how much I'm having to work? I'm having to move a lot over time, this gets exhausting. I know because Hudson and I had a match in August, and I had to move a lot, and I got tired. All right, but or body lock passing. Right now, I'm having to carry this guy's weight. He's pressing into me. I'm having to carry his weight, my diaphragm. Okay, or other forms like J camping. I'm having to carry this guy's weight with my chest and my arms. Okay, all forms of guard. Like I'm still retaining a guard there, but way more taxing. Versus here, I'm chilling, right? I got tension in my legs, but I'm not having to move around so much. I'm not having to like death squeeze, right? I can respond with an appropriate amount of tension based on what he's doing. And I get to carry him with the strongest parts of my body, the legs, right? Doing extension, what they were designed to do. His hips are over my hips. My hips, my legs are very strong, way stronger than my arms. Okay. And it's way less taxing than me having to carry him with my chest, carry his body weight plus gravity in my chest and my arms. So that's one major advantage of X-Guard. The second major advantage of X-Guard is you'll appreciate X-Guard, right? Yeah. Because also all of us are one day going to be old like Nevada. Right?
That's right. It's okay.
And
What happened to you?
we're not gonna be able to move. We're not gonna be able to move around as quickly as we used to. I already start to feel that. I can't imagine what 40 is gonna feel like. Right?
Just wait.
But like, we're not gonna be able to move that quickly, explosively. Slowing the game down that's like a timeless strategy. Okay, and if you see a lot of the best guys that we like to follow, that's their style. It's like Nick talks about being a wet blanket all the time, just like old man style, like super heavy, not super explosive, just always working to limit the other person's mobility. Not necessarily trying to be super mobile ourselves, just control. So that's number one. Number two is X-Guard allows me to control the space between his knees, which makes it easy to off balance him and start offensive sequences like leg entries, right? So it becomes easier for me to take his knees apart